Hey guys, welcome. Really excited to be here. I just want to chat a little bit about the clinic, about being back, a little bit about our opening. Thank you again, Nate, Julie, for having me on. This is awesome. I really appreciate that. I miss all of you guys to see you all in person. But I just wanted to chat a little bit just about how we're kind of starting and when we're coming out. So May 19th is our soft reopening. And I say soft reopening because we'll still be doing telehealth and then also in-person appointments. So it's a bit of a hybrid model, if you want to say that. It's in the terms of we're still working details out, but we'll be anybody who is potentially at risk for any kind of COVID type stuff, certainly we'll be able to do all the telehealth appointments, and they'll be staggered starts. So nobody will be in contact with another client that's coming in, and it'll be probably, we're working on the details, but something where somebody is in for their appointment and we'll actually have them wait in their car, and then we'll call or text or whichever and say, hey, come on in, it's your turn now. So then there's no crossover for anybody to potentially cross pass or germs or bugs or any of that kind of stuff, and full extra cleaning and all the fun stuff and lovely full masks. So I'll be in full personal protective equipment in terms of, I don't know what all of it will look like, hopefully not too Darth Vader-ish, but it'll be a mask and likely some goggles or face shields, and then each of the clients, everybody gets to also wear a mask as well. And I'll have extra masks here if somebody doesn't bring any, if somebody's not bringing it from home, but I'll be sending out a full email, and anybody who books will be able to have that information as well. And then in terms of for booking, starting for the 19th, we don't have it where there's online booking for in-person appointments as of yet. So it'll have to be either calling in or emailing the clinic. Either or, and we'll get back to you quite quickly, and then we'll be able to kind of stagger the appointments accordingly for that. So it'll be pretty good, hopefully. Did that answer your question from earlier there, Tanya? Perfect.
I think Julie mentioned that you were going to have possibly the people will leave and then they'll get a follow-up call, see how it was, and a call for booking their next appointment, right?
Yeah, so unless I booked it with you guys in at the appointment, we'll probably get either way, we'll get a follow-up call. So for any kind of the billing purposes, so it's not, we're kind of minimizing any kind of risk factor is the biggest thing, because we want to make sure that all of, anybody coming in as well as anybody working here, all of us are safe and healthy, because we don't want to spread anything. And we're still waiting to hear with our college guidelines as to how that kind of works there, Nate. But yes, it'll be that'll probably be what it is that after the appointment, we'll get a follow-up call from either myself or Julie or Julia or somebody, making sure how things went, and also to be able to rebook a future appointment, or if there's any billing issues or any of that. So yes, thank you for addressing that. Yeah, but it should be good. So oh, go ahead, sorry.
Just a question. So if we're in person, will there be like full, all of the kind of like needles and everything that you have done in the past? Like there'll be no, well, we don't do that, but we do this.
No restrictions in terms of treatment. I'll be doing it. Yeah, IMS, any of the needling stuff will be there. Any hands-on manual stuff, I'll be able to do anything. So whatever anybody needs, it's just as I was doing before. The only difference is that is what I'm wearing, and the person in will be wearing a mask. And then I might even have to wear a gown, or something over top of my outfit, so I'm not. If something were to rub onto my shirt or whichever from someone's clothing, that's a potential too. So I don't know. Hopefully I'll get a nice one if I can have to do that. But there's been a lot of different talk on things. We're just waiting for some of the guidelines.
I think I read somewhere that the first guideline was Eden and I are already there. Yeah. Your hair's got to be cleaned up and tight, right?
I'll work on shaving my head. I don't know. I'd be matching my husband too much.
Just need a mustache.
It's gone. It's clean shaved. Now you know. I'll work on that. I got the COVID hair going too. It's too long now.
Very well,
any other questions on that?
Yeah. Do you guys have questions on telehealth or anything?
So Tanya's already done a telehealth meeting
Really good.
with Megan, and I just said that I was going to try and book one here shortly because I'd like to revisit some of my shoulder things that I've been doing with her, but I want to book an in-person appointment after the long weekend. So can I go? Sorry, I know you said this, but I can't do it. No, but can I?
Yeah.
Can I call,
you can call. Yeah, you can call, and so some of our hours are a little bit limited right now. So if you do call and don't get someone in person, then please leave a message because we'll call you back as soon as you get it. So either call or email. Yeah. And then if you're emailing, maybe leave the day and potential times, or like an afternoon or an evening or whichever, or morning or whichever works. And we'll be able to go from there. And it'll still be the same hours for the most part as before, the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're a little bit flexible in there, but somewhere between 9 and 4:30ish. But that can be adjusted a little bit as needed. And then same thing with Matthew being back as well. So he'll be back on the Wednesdays as well.
Oh, okay.
So no massage right now though.
No massage.
Yeah, unfortunately no massage because the massage therapists we had were student massage therapists. So they don't, because they're not registered yet, they don't qualify under registered massage therapists, RMTs, which are in the same phase as physiotherapists. Yeah, sorry. Hopefully soon.
We'll be on the lookout for a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Anything else along those lines?
Well, you're going to talk about double unders and what's going to happen to my calves tomorrow.
Yes, I have to talk about double unders. I got asked from Kelsey. She said there's a double under competition or whatnot going on. So she said, what can everyone do to be able to help their calves? Because they're going to be done. So something to be able to actually work on is just doing a little bit of an active release or a release with movement through the calves would be so important to do either or both before and after actually doing the double unders. But all you have to do in that is just grabbing a hold. Can you guys see me there? So if you're grabbing that bulk of your calf and pressure into the calf as you pump your toes and ankles, and you can play around with that from doing all the way up from right behind the knee. And you can put pressure into it this way, or you can grab it. You can do the same thing with your lacrosse ball and have your legs straight out and putting pressure on the back of the calf as you pump your foot up and down as well. But any kind of active release stuff just to get that tendon moving as you get lower down towards the ankle for the Achilles there, but also to get the calf muscle actually loosening up a little bit. And that'll help really well with getting some of that ankle mobility, but also to be able to work on a little bit of flushing out some of the lactic acid afterwards would be nice for releasing it. And then any kind of stretching. So stretching not only your gastrocs, so that's any of the straight leg or straight knee stretching, but also the soleus, so any of the stretching with the knee bend. So when you think of your calf muscle, your calf is made up of two different muscles. If you think of the bulk gastroc, and then the one that sits underneath of that and a little bit lower is your soleus, which works more when your knee is bent. So when you're doing your double unders, your knee is a little bit bent when you're doing that. So stretching it, so whether you're doing your regular stretch against the wall, right? So if I go the angle here, so up like that with that knee straight, or with your knee bent in there, that gets both of those muscles stretched. So stretching both of those are important to be able to release it. We often usually just focus on that straight leg stretch and we just get the gastrocs firing and stretch. So both of them are important. The other kind of little trick that a lot of people don't do is your flexor muscle of your big toe is also one that gets worked a lot because you're pushing off of the ball of the foot and you're using that toe. So one thing you can do is if you have a towel, just a simple towel, whether it's a hand towel or washcloth or anything along those lines, take it and just roll it Doesn't have to be a huge roll, just tightly a little bit. And then pop that under just your toes. So not underneath, and I'm just gonna show you my lovely foot there. So not underneath of the ball of your foot, but you want only your toes. So you can do this barefoot. I'm gonna save you from looking at my unpedicured foot, but put it just underneath of your big toes and your toe line. So if you think of that as your foot, and these are all of your toes here, you do not want it to be underneath this part because that's not going to do a whole lot. So that roll would be under your big toes, and then you're going to lean up into that wall. So if I'm doing it, I have a pretty flexible shoe here. So if I'm doing it, I would have it into my toes, and I can do it here and bending that knee in, or I can do it with that straight toe up against a wall and just on my toes going straight into it. And what that does is it actually stretches out a little bit more of that flexor muscle in the toe as well, a muscle that we're often using and we don't think about. And when you think, oh, I have this calf discomfort, and it's not always just the gastrocs and soleus, sometimes it is that, that tendon as well, and that muscle. So those would be the big things to be able to work on. It'd be calf stretching, so the straight knee and bent knee with that roll underneath the big toe and even the other toes if you wanted, and then doing some of that release with movement where you're putting pressure into the calf and then pumping the ankles up and down. That'll save your calves a little bit, hopefully. Depends on how many you're doing, I guess. But would be good before and after. Yeah. The other thing I was going to mention that I know a lot of people are working from home, different workplace setup now. You think of it, we always call it ergonomics of your workplace. So at work, often people have a really good setup, whether it's their chair is set up well, their desk height is right, it's the proper computer for them, all of that. And now they're home and have a different desk, a different seat, a different computer. Usually, often people are their laptop, or we're given a laptop to be able to work on at home. And there's been a lot of people that have been working with for telehealth that have been treating for something else, and all of a sudden they're like, my neck is now really sore, or my back is really sore, and it's because we're sitting more, and we're sitting more in not always the best posture. And usually it's just because now we're at home, we're in these awkward positions. So something to think about in terms of our ergonomics or our posture for sitting at home, since likely a lot of people are going to be continuing to work from home for a while and maybe enjoy it, and it's an option that we'll be able to do for the foreseeable future here, right? But something just to kind of think about is if you have a laptop, to be able to make sure that the height is in a good spot, right? So that if you're using a laptop, even using like an external keyboard is actually better. So then you can prop your laptop up somewhere a little bit higher. So when you're at your desk typing away, if your laptop is down, we're typically here looking down at the screen. So what we feed into is a lot of neck issues, right? So that's a big thing. Back issues because we get into this kind of posture as well, and we often don't have that nice neutral wrist. So there's a lot of things that you can think of for using a laptop at home instead of like a regular kind of PC or computer. The other thing is just thinking of that height. So if you do have a regular computer, great, but it's what's our height set up, right? So where's our computer screen versus where's our chair? Do we have armrests on the chair? And if you do, can you actually sit underneath your table to be able to have your arms at that nice 90 degrees? So really what you should be thinking about is a 90-degree elbow with a nice neutral wrist, a 90-degree hip, or up to 110 degrees, and with your feet flat on the ground. Often, and I'm going to show you from a distance there, but often we end up sitting on a not a very good chair. Our feet are kicked out in front of us. We're here because we don't have any lumbar support. If you can see my neck here, sorry, this has been having a bald head would help. If you're here and we're here, right? Trying to type. And maybe we're even reaching out here, or we're reaching out with the mouse, and then we're looking across here because that's where some of our paperwork is. But as soon as you get your hips in a good position, great. If your elbows are in a good position, even better. And now you have this lumbar support. And even if it's a matter of just putting a towel roll there, as soon as I put that support here, that puts me in a better position for my trunk, puts me in a better position for my neck, because now I'm not in this shortened position that's going to feed into a lot of headaches, a lot of neck issues. I'm sitting up a lot taller. the other thing is we're doing a lot of these kind of fun Zoom meetings, right? Telehealth meetings. I'm kind of in it too. So a lot of times we're looking forward at the screen, right? We're trying to get closer to the screen and we don't think about it. And so when we're in that closer to the screen, we're constantly shortening up these muscles in the back of our neck. And by shortening up those muscles, that really feeds into a lot of typically headaches, but any of the migraines can come on higher with that. A lot of like trapezius stuff, neural stuff going down through the arms, right? I've seen a lot more people coming in with different carpal tunnel issues, and that's because of postural issues. So just being aware of some of the posture would be good. I actually have a great sheet. I know, Julie, you have it maybe, but I will, I'll give that to you, Nate. I don't know if there's a spot you can post it on it. And it's a nice little checklist that you can kind of go through. And it's from the National Institute of Health, but it's a great little checklist that can kind of go through, and you can just look at your home and say, what do I have, right? How is it? And what do I need to do to make it better? Or is there something I can do where I don't have to buy a fancy chair? Can I just put a towel roll there, right? Just the awareness, changing heights, taking a break, not necessarily allowing yourself to sit there at the computer for over an hour. We should always be taking a break, even if it's to sit up and stand up and sit back down again. But every half hour is important to be able to do that. So yeah, questions on that, guys?
Your posture is exactly what I look like. Yeah.
Leg straight up. The thing with that, the leg straight out too, is that, and here, like that just feeds into a ton of neural tension as well. Especially if you have anything underlying to begin with, but that's a position of nerve, like to test it for your nerves through there. So it can be feeding into a lot of these issues that maybe it doesn't present as back pain or neck pain, but it presents something peripherally, right? Like carpal tunnel, or it presents as, it's like sciatic stuff. Something's on my leg here, right? It can present as something different. Yeah, but you're right. It's all, I catch myself in there too, and it's easy to fall into. And it doesn't matter if you're sitting on an exercise ball or a stool or anything, you can have poor posture for any position.
We're apparently lazy people.
Yeah, we are. And we're just, you know what, as a whole, most people are sitting a little bit more right now, right? Whether it's because we're having to sit more with our jaw, right? Because we're not even standing up to go maybe even pick something out. If you have a typical desk job, people are standing up to go grab something from their printer, and now that everything's right there, right? Or a fax machine or any of that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's an issue, and it's definitely presenting itself in terms of body breakdown. Like a lot of us are feeling it in different ways. So yeah, it's amazing.
Would that
and
affect your hips too? Does that affect your hips? Well,
100%. I can tell my hip is there too. Yeah, absolutely. Because if you think of it, if you're sitting in this, you can see me here. If you're sitting in this poor posture here, and you're constantly in this, whether it's a forward position because you're trying to look at a screen, or you're sitting in your desk and you're cross-legged the whole time, or you're just stuck in this position because you're sitting a long time, it shortens up those hip flexors, right? So you have this kind of shortening and then this lengthening through the glutes. So it's this muscle imbalance that you end up with, whether it be from strength or just from tightness of muscles. You end up with this imbalance that really becomes, potentially can become more of an issue, right? Yeah, it's the fun stuff.
okay.
It's never fun. Yeah.